All right, welcome to our webinar on the Acronis Data Cloud. What's new in version 7.7? First, right off the top, just want to know that 7.7 is our internal number that we assign to different versions of the Acronis Cloud. This is to let you know what version that we're on. We talk about it here and what features are included. However, we don't generally use this terminology when we're talking to end customers or so forth. This is to just let you know which version you might be on, because we roll out the versions differently in different data centers across the world at different times, so that you know which one that you're on. First, a little bit of a recap on what we did last quarter in 2017. As you recall, that we released what is now called the Acronis Data Cloud. And it's an important nomenclature to note that the entire system here is now called the Acronis Data Cloud. So this is Acronis Data Cloud 7.7. And we added to that some additional services that you did not have before. Of course, we've always had the Acronis Backup Cloud for you, but on top of the Acronis Backup Cloud, we added Acronis Disaster Recovery Cloud, and we added Acronis Files Cloud, so that you could sell 3 products simultaneously to your customers. In addition, we also added a bunch of key enhancements onto the Acronis Backup Cloud as well, including a new product called Acronis Assign, and we have integrations with things like VMware's vSphere 6.5 and an integration to Autotask. So lots of really cool things we're going. But the #1 feature of that release was Acronis Active Protection, which protects your customers against ransomware. If you haven't taken a close look at that feature, you really should take the time to go ahead and look for the YouTube videos that we have on the Acronis Active Protection. It's a really awesome feature. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to go across a couple of the improvements that have been made to the Acronis Data Cloud. And I should note from the start here that at the beginning of this, we're going to talk about some really great features that will help your admins actually operate your business. So amongst all of the people you should include for watching this video, make sure that you get your admins involved, because this has some great features for them. We have our new integration with AppDirect. We have enhancements to the backup cloud. We have a new product for you called Acronis Storage with new pay-as-you-go licensing, and a completely new service called Acronis Notary Cloud. So some really awesome things to add. And as we noted, we just keep adding more and more features and services to this cloud system. So this is the Acronis Data Cloud 7.7 release. And one of our biggest things that we wanted to do was we wanted to improve the managed service providers' operational efficiency. There was a number of things that we were hearing from the field in terms of being efficient operating your business that you really needed to have. And we listened to those. And this is our version of making sure that we address some of those issues. And our goals were to make sure that you could perform daily operations quicker and with greater ease, that you had greater visibility to your data, and that we reduced the expenses and overtime and provide a higher quality service. So what is new in the Acronis Data Cloud? Well, there are 8 things that we'll be showing you today before we show you some of the new services that you can add onto the Acronis Data Cloud. And we'll go through each of these really in their own slides, but let's go over them really quickly. We're 5 times faster, and I know that's a huge thing for a lot of you guys. We've added our operations dashboard, which we've brought over from our Acronis Backup Advanced product, and I think you guys were really impressed with that. And that also helped us bring over customizable backup reports. We have some new storage usage controls that allow you to manage your storage, not only for your backups, but also for files. We've improved the branding settings to make it a lot more intuitive to use. We've redesigned the storage tab. We've improved the usability of the system. And then finally, we've added our integration with AppDirect, which many of you have been asking for. So let's talk about the 5 times faster console. We heard from this field that oftentimes the responsiveness of the system when you're working with your customers was far too slow. And so now operations in our management portal are up to 5 times faster, including opening speed of pages, drilling down to another tenant. All of those things have been made a lot faster. Matter of fact, we're beyond 5 times faster now, and we continue to improve on that operational efficiency as we go forward. We know that your time is money, and that the more efficiency you can drive out of the system, the lower your costs. The next thing we brought in was a backup operations dashboard. Now, what our goal was to give you the ability to have manage all of your backups at a glance, at a single look. And what we've introduced is a series of widgets that can be configured by you to give you exactly the kind of information that you need and exactly the way that you want it. And so you can customize your view by creating a dashboard that's tailored to your needs. And it can be about activities, active alerts, alert summaries, protected devices, daily activities, alerts, all kinds of things. One of the other things that we introduced also is a new feature that was called folders. We introduced that in our last version. The folders option allows you to organize your data in any way that you would like to organize it, in terms of different departments or different geographies, or maybe different brands that you might have. And many of our partners used, before we got this folders feature, they just created tenants in the system that operated in much the same way as those folders would. But unfortunately, that means that you couldn't get a top-down view of everything at once from the appropriate level. So we've introduced another new feature here called Convert Partner to Folder Tenants. And that means you can go back and forwards, making a partner into a folder, or a vice versa, folder into a partner if you needed to. But our intent was to allow you to take those partner folders or partners that you had used for organizational purposes and just turn those into folders so that you could operate your business in the way that you expected to from the very start. We've also made customizable backup reports using the same widgets that you see in the reports functionality. It allows you to create a lot more different kinds of custom reports. And when you send those reports out, you can send them out via email, and you can send them out to anyone. One of the requests that we heard from the field was that we have occasionally customers who'd like to know that their SLAs are on time and that everything was going well. And they'd like periodic reports from the system that would come from their administrator. And now we've introduced that feature so you can add any email to the recipient field, no matter who it is, and those reports can be spit out in XLS, CSV, or PDF form, depending on what you prefer. So very cool stuff. One of the things we wanted to improve on was the usability in the system. There was a couple of things that we had moved around or made differently between the last 2 versions, and we heard some negative response to that. So we've reinstated some of the features that we had, or at least the way that they were organized, back to the system. And so what you'll see is a couple of things. First, we now have the ability to sort clients by column, and you can adjust the columns as needed for sizing and so forth. We also reintroduced the status so that you could quickly view which tenants are active, disabled, or in trial mode. That was a feature that we had there, we'd removed, and now we've placed back there for you. Of course, when we removed it, we had a good reason for doing that, but the customer said, no, we really like to have this back, and so we've reintroduced it, and we hope that will help. Another thing that we did is we changed the way that drill downs occur. So you'll notice that next to where it says Blue Sky Group here, that there are 3 dots. And that ellipse is a drop-down menu for other features and functionality that you can use here. By the way, one of the other features and functionality you can we'll see there is the convert to folder option for customers or for partners. So that's another feature you'll get right in that same exact spot. But we also have added a link there for drill down so that it's very natural and intuitive to drill down. You'll notice we've maintained the breadcrumbs that we introduced in the last version at the top, so you know where you are in the system at all times. And that way, everything is very natural and convenient as you move through the system. A few other usability ones. I just mentioned the breadcrumbs, but now we have the ability to have fine breadcrumbs. And you'll see that when we have a limitation in the size of the screen and we are beyond what is capable of being shown at the top, we now introduce an ellipse there that shows you all of the interim hidden breadcrumbs so that you can see them all. We've also improved the system notifications. You'll notice at the top that we used to have the ability to introduce just one notification at the top of the system when you had a notification. Now we can have multiple notifications there at the top of the screen, and you can cycle between the ones that are available. In this case, you see that we have 3 different ones. You could cycle through the 3 notifications you might have from the system. And we've put better help windows into the system. As we keep adding more and more services, it's important that we give you better information about the service configurations that you're looking at when you're making your different services for your customers. And so we've added some more intuitive help menus or help texts there that is right beside each one of the things in your configuration to make it easier to figure out exactly what it is that you're configuring. And hopefully that will help, especially as we're adding so many more different kinds of services that you might want to offer to your customers. We've also redesigned the storage tab. File sync and share storage is now visible alongside of your backup service storage so that you can manage both kinds of storage. You will also be using your backup storage along with your disaster cloud stuff. And then we've also made it easier to delete storage. It used to be that if you had entered storage into that area and needed to take that out of there, you actually had to contact support in order to do it because it was a manual process for us. We've obviously, that wasn't efficient for either you or us, and so we've added that feature here that you have been asking for. We've also improved the brand settings in the system. One of the big things that we added was we changed the infocon at the top corner there. We used to use an Acronis A there as the standard default infocon, and now you can see it's kind of a world-looking, globe-looking item. We've also made it the system much more responsive. We've been enabled you to preview your branding changes as you're using it, so that if you want to see, hey, what is it going to look like for my customers, you can click a button. It will show you exactly what is going to look like your customers, and you can customize the page name as well. So some really cool features that we've added for customizing it to make it look like it's just your system. We've also updated some of the storage usage controls. Now you can see all the metrics that are available for cloud storage, and you can see which cloud storages they're associated with. This is important as we've introduced many more different ways of using cloud. You want to be able to see all of the storage tiers for all your customers and all your partner tenants. And now you can then drill down and examine the detailed storage usage for each one of them. You can also manage the abilities of partners to self-deploy. The new partner-owned storage offering items lets you choose whether or not a partner can deploy or use their own storage, especially their cloud storage. It may be that it's in your company's best interest to always have them use your storage, but it may be part of your business plan to allow resellers, partners down below you, to use their own storage as part of their business plan. And we just simply enable that for you. You can control whether you want it. And then finally, we have the ability to track and control local backup usage. So before, we had introduced a feature where we allowed you to control whether or not an end user would be allowed to use their own local backup. And that was a good feature and well received. But the feature that the partners said they really wanted was to be able to control and lock down how much local storage they could use so that it would match up with the other programs that they were selling through their cloud storage. It's not like they didn't want to let their customers have local storage. They just wanted to control how much local storage they have. And so that is now a feature you see in the system. Finally, in the interface part of this, we have a new integration with AppDirect. With this new integration, our telecommunication service providers, or VARs and MSPs, who currently use AppDirect are able to successfully sell Acronis Data Cloud services through the AppDirect platform and white label them into their marketplace for subscription billing and reseller management services. So if you're an AppDirect customer, you're going to want to stay tuned for more information. There is more information available upon request, but you'll need to request the Acronis Professional Services team to help you get that set up, because it is one of the more tricky integrations. But for those of you who are doing that, it's a huge opportunity. We all know that marketplaces make it a whole lot easier to sell through our channels. Now, we got a couple other things, exciting things we've added as well. New in Acronis Backup Cloud itself, we have the ability to now install backup agents without the need for credentials. So one of the challenges, especially if you're an MSP who's trying to offer a white glove service, is making sure that we get the agent installed properly on the target machines. And before, in order to do that, you would have to have some sort of username and password that you would have to insert on the agent as it was being installed. What we have done is we've introduced a bunch of Auth 2.0 features in here so that you don't have to remember your credentials to finish the agent installation, and there's no need to store administrator credentials on their machine. And so what we've got is two options for you. We've got the ability to install it through a registration code, and we also have the ability to install it via a registration token so that you can put that into your hands of your customers, and they can just click on the link and it will simply work, and they will be registered and ready to go. So that is a lot more convenient than trying to manage a bunch of subscriber usernames and passwords on the system. We have some other improvements. We've introduced a next generation backup format in the Acronis Backup Cloud. It will make your backups faster and more reliable. It will also give you the ability to pause and resume backups at any time, both for full image and file level backups. And so we think that's a huge improvement for you. We also have safer Microsoft Exchange backup for administrators who don't want to share their credentials. The server management role can now be used to back up the standalone servers rather than using the organizational management role. So you can set up just a special server management role just for this purpose. We also are now able to do mass updates of agents via the web console, so you can select an unlimited number of agents and update them remotely. And change block tracking is now supported in Hyper-V virtual machines that are hosted on a clustered share volume as well, which make it easier for you guys to get restored since we can do, or backed up because we have change block tracking. You only send over the data you need to from your Hyper-V machines. So that's all some really cool stuff with regard to backup. Let's move over to Acronis Storage. So many of you have been asking about Acronis Storage. Up until now, we have not had a SPLA licensing agreement for that product. You had to buy it as a separate purchase. What we have introducing today is the ability to now buy pay-as-you-go licensing against our Acronis Storage. So Acronis Storage can be used in a number of ways, and we'll discuss that in a minute. But what's important is it can also be used to store your backups. And so we can take industry standard servers, convert those into a location where your Acronis backup storage can go. But then we can also use that same storage for a number of other things. And the pay-as-you-go model will cover all of those additional costs or additional uses. And you only pay for what is used, not for a bundle up front, so that you get much closer to your actual costs when you're doing this. Also, it's notable that Acronis storage commitments can now be combined with your overall service provider cloud commitment. So that if you have some of your commitment in your backup and some of it in Files Cloud, you can also, as a third location that you can add up to your cloud commitment, come from your Acronis storage as well. So let's take a look at what is Acronis storage at a glance. It is universal software-defined storage for your data center. You can take industry standard hardware, combine it up, run the software on top of it, and then have 4 different kinds of storage that you can run off of it. And that's why it's software defined. The software defines what the storage is, not the device. The first and most typical, considering our customer base, is the ability to do backup storage. And so the backup storage is really, heart and soul of what we do. But one of the things that you can do now, if you use Acronis Storage versus using something else, is you can run replication either out to AWS or Azure, or you can run it out to another data center that's also running Acronis Storage. So some additional replication options come to you if you use the Acronis Storage. A second kind of storage is file storage, sort of general file storage. It supports all the different NFS formats that you might have, including permissions using LDAP or Kerberos, so that you have control over who has access to what files. Very typical for your file sharing going on in a company. Another option is object storage or S3 compatible storage. We are compatible with anything that is S3 compatible cloud storage. What's cool about this is you can use this for unstructured data. Any sort of file, you can throw it in there and you can store it in there. And that's great. And then finally, we have high performance storage, where we can run highly available, secure iSCSI access for all of your critical applications and run those all in the same storage. And because we're taking your typical off-the-shelf storage and using it for all these purposes, you can scale out in such a way as you can always add another device very easily to scale higher, or you can change the way that you're operating and use your storage more efficiently, so that you're utilizing every bit of your CPU, every bit of your storage, every bit of your RAM. Everything is as efficient as possible. And oh, by the way, you can also store your backups there. So why would you want to consider it? The first thing is it's universal. It unites all your file, block, and object-based storage into one simple solution, and it's optimized to work with the Acronis Data Cloud for all the different things that we're doing. It's fast and scalable. By the way, it's 5 times faster than Ceph and other software-defined storage products, and it scales from terabytes up to tens of petabytes without much of an effort. It is safe. It uses something we call Acronis Cloud RAID, which allows you to make sure that you have any number of machines that you could have on the system, and if one of the nodes were to fail, the other ones would pick it up and you wouldn't lose your data, and you could safely replace that node and be back to where you started. It's efficient. It has smart automation and a rapid GUI management, and it supports industry standard hardware. It's optimized to work with the other Acronis products, and it's highly optimized for low memory and CPU usage. Next one's probably the most important one. It's cost effective. It separates your software from your hardware and increases your flexibility so that you can put your investments in exactly where you want. And most important to this is a pay-as-you-go model. It makes it super easy for you to scale out your system without having to pay ahead of time for large blocks of storage. And you should know it's proven. We use this same Acronis storage on the back end of all of the things that are in our Acronis data centers running the Acronis hosted version of this product. And so there are literally hundreds of petabytes and thousands of servers already running this software. So you can be sure that it's going to work for you as well. The other thing we wanted to introduce you to is Acronis Notary Cloud. This is a new service. So this is now your 4th service on top of backup, disaster recovery, and files that you can add to your system. And Acronis Notary Cloud utilizes blockchain technology for file notarization, e-signing, and verification for businesses of any size. So the idea behind this is that we have utilized the existing blockchain infrastructure. We actually use the Ethereum database, and you can put data into our backup cloud or into Files Cloud, but then later you need to send that out to somebody else. And so we've invented another product where you can take your files and put it, and when you want to send it to somebody, you can send it to them with a notarization certificate attached to it. They can be certain that it has not been changed in any way, that it's an authentic document that you're sending them, and it is digitally signed so that they can be ensured of that customer's authenticity of their critical business data. Some target customers for this, obviously, finance, real estate, healthcare, legal industry, lots of really good customers for this product. It helps your customers achieve their regulatory transparency, and it also decreases their security risks because they have a log of who has touched these documents. The file notarization service allows customers to notarize their files of any type via a web console or an API. It generates a certificate with a publicly verifiable proof of timestamp, integrity, and authenticity. And it's best for things like property records, contracts, media, surveillance footage, medical records, data for monitoring and audit systems, and many other places where the authenticity of the data and the chain of command of that data has been needed to be established. And so what you see here is we have the ability not only to send this document and put signatures on it, but we can actually create digital signatures, e-signatures for it as well, so that you have a complete electronic signature service on top of it. It's great for digital contracts, purchase orders, petitions, internal policies, and much, much more. Some product highlights. It is a trusted independent verification system. We use the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum is an open source blockchain distributed across many, many thousands and tens of thousands of computers. Matter of fact, hundreds of thousands. It allows you to verify any data from any device at any time. Remember, this is web enabled, and so we have the ability to do that from anywhere. And we have a smooth integration process via our API. So Acronis's Notary API enables tight integration with any application utilizing the service backend, or can be embedded as parts of the Acronis Notary into the user interface. It has comprehensive white labeling, so you can make it all your own, just in the same way we have comprehensive white labeling for all of our other products. They can add their own colors, names of the service, logos, URLs, color scheme, email design, and much more. And it's all in an easy-to-use web interface, and nobody has to learn how to use any different products. As a matter of fact, if you're already using Acronis products for other things, this is going to seem super intuitive for you. It's ready to use. It has a convenient interface, and the Notary Cloud provides quick onboarding and high levels of usability for end users. And to add it to their system, again, it's just a flip of a switch inside of the products area as you're configuring each of your customer. You want them to have access to this, you can charge them for it. How is it licensed? It's licensed a little bit differently than the other products that we have. The cloud storage portion of it, where your customer is storing their data inside of the notarization while it's waiting to be delivered, that is the same per gigabyte pricing that you're very much used to. But there is a charge per number of API calls, or the per number of initiated file notarizations or initiated e-signatures. It's sold in bundles. They're very affordable. We charge you once for everything that you utilize through the system, but you can charge your customers in any way, sell them a certain bundled amount per month or so forth. That is up to you. We've made the price really easy so that it is still on a per use basis in the way that you currently run your business today. So those are all the things that are included in Acronis Data Cloud 7.7. If you have any questions about what you've seen today, please reach out to your salesperson, either at Acronis or at one of our distributors, and we'd be glad to get you some further answers about what is going on with the Acronis Data Cloud. Thank you very much, and you have a great day.